All right, and we are back. You're listening to The Late Show with Kit Adams and old mate Nate, brought to you by IPL Radio. And I believe we have Jessie Lou. Are you with us, Jessie?
Yes, I am.
And am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, it's Jessie Liu.
Jessie Lou, excellent. So we've got you here today because you are a digital parenting coach. You've got about 14 years experience in cybersecurity, and you're helping parents that are sort of dealing with kids in this new age of every kid's got a screen and becoming addicted to it, and you're helping them sort of take control of the situation, I believe.
Yes, and empowering them to use it responsibly and stay safe online.
Yeah, beautiful. So who do you work with more? Is it like the parents that you're sort of teaching them how to put boundaries up for their children, or are you working directly with the children and teaching the children how to stay safe online?
Basically, I work directly with the parents, which they help them to empowering the children to use the devices responsibly and also guide them to stay safe online.
Yeah, right. And you are a mother yourself, and you this is why you sort of got into this, I believe. But you've got about 14 years in cybersecurity. What came first? Were you a mother and that sort of made you want to get into cybersecurity for your children, or were you already involved in cybersecurity before you became a mother?
Actually, I involved in cybersecurity before I became a mother.
Right.
And because of my experience, and actually I kind of a different person. Like I like to really understand about the tech, and I also like helping a lot of organizations running pen tests, basically just trying to hack into their systems to know that what are the things that can broken and not broken. So I've kind of like curiosity to do that. And that's why experience that and all that. And that's why I think that this I should born in this era instead.
Yeah, absolutely. And what sort of security are you looking at? Is it sort of security from online predators for the children, or is it security from online scammers that may be using sort of dodgy software?
Basically, you mean my experience working in cybersecurity or my experience of like teach the children how to stay safe online?
Yeah, well, both, I suppose. Have you sort of done both? Have you sort of helped people stay safe from scammers and also help children stay safe from predators?
Well, we guide them how to actually stay safe, and like to know that of course we actually teach our like, because I have children myself, so literally what we do is like we teach them what are online dangers available and how to help them to visualize what the online dangers will look like and what the red flags they should actually look and see. Like you shouldn't talk to, like, it's just strange that we keep telling our children to stay safe in the physical world, like don't talk to strangers. So basically it's actually the same. It's not like a hanky panky, like, but you shouldn't talk to online strangers as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And is there any software you can use to sort of create these barriers? Or is it more just sort of teaching the kids about personal safety once they're on these open world sort of format games?
Basically, you need to combine both. I think the software out there is, some of the software is good, but like you also need to teach them how to stay safe online, because like there's just too many of apps. And like the child must know what is the dangers they are actually facing so that they can actually protect themselves. So I think that there's a lot of parental control software that you can use. And even iPhone and Android, they actually come with free parental control, which you can actually use for free. And you just need to set on your child devices and then guide them to stay safe online, like teaching them, hey, not to talk to strangers. What if you actually got unknown messages from someone that you do not know? How do you respond? And what are the red flags? Like, what would be the message look like? So you need to guide them. You need to role play with them, and maybe you just need to teach them how to identify this is a scam or not, right, or this is a stranger or not.
Yeah, technology is like ever changing. One minute, you're up with the most advanced technology, and the next minute it's completely out of date, and your kids know a lot more than you. They're coding their own apps and all sorts of things. Um, what advice would you give for parents who are starting to realize they haven't got all the most modern apps? There's new apps like, for example, TikTok, which has came out of nowhere in the last like 4 years, and other apps like that, which people who are with it can take advantage of, and risk danger to young people like children. And what was I going to say?
How do parents deal with the new apps?
That's it. Yeah.
Is it hard for parents to stay up to date with all the new apps that are coming out and become so popular with the kids and stuff?
Yeah.
Do they all present sort of new dangers that you have to constantly adapt to?
Oh, yes and no, it depends. But I think that, like there's a lot of things that you can control. Like you can also control what type of apps that your child have access to.
And that goes back to the like parental controls you were saying with like iPhone, and I'm guessing Samsung and the others would have one very similar parental control apps as well.
Yes. iPhone have a free parental control, which is called Screen Time, and Google also have a family link, which you can actually use for free. So I think that there's also a limit, like what type of apps that you want to allow to your children, and you should also explain and walk through them and empowering them to use that. Because if let's say you try to limit and you don't allow, and children nowadays are very smart, and they also have peers, and their peers can also borrow their friends. Okay, my mom don't allow me to Instagram. Can I borrow your phone? And then they say yes, and you can create another account in her friend's phone or his friend's phones. So it's actually working together with your child to help them and guide them to set the boundaries with the screens instead of trying to limit and control. Because especially on the internet, there's just too much of things that, if you want to filter every single content, it's going to be very tough because, like the parental control software, they can tell you, okay, I'm going to filter all the porns. But some slimy objects or slimy videos, they can still go through. Like,
I've noticed that they sort of disguise them on YouTube and stuff like that, and you get some of the sneaky videos that get through under the guise of sort of children's videos and stuff like that. How do you go? I noticed that you sort of help children overcome digital addiction, and kids that are maybe having too many hours of screen time each day, have you been working with children with sort of digital addiction for long?
You mean they have addictions for quite some time, like at least 1 year to 2 years?
How long has this sort of been sort of prevalent in the community with these sort of new apps that keep kids drawn in for such a long period of time? Is this becoming a new thing? Is it acknowledged as an addiction now?
I don't think sometimes it's not maybe the addictions, because, like addiction is more like a deeper thing that, there's a deeper needs behind the addictions. So you need to identify whether it's a deeper connections, or sometimes it's just not setting the right boundaries with the screens. Because right now you see that not even the children are addicted. The adults are also addicted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's also role modeling the right behavior, the right screen habits to the children, which parents fail to do so. And in the first place, they also have no idea how to set the boundaries.
So if you are dealing with parents that are coming to you because they feel that their children have a screen addiction and they're spending too many hours on their devices each day, what sort of approach do you take? Is it like a sort of cold turkey, cut them off, no more screen time, or do you allow them a little bit of screen time each day and sort of wean them down a little bit, or what do you find is the best approach?
Well, I have like a program which I actually guide my parents to go through. But of course, I think that the first thing that the parents need to take control is about their reactions to their children's screen time or their misbehavior.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, because if let's say you always reacted, you always yell, scream, taking away the devices, it's like a continuous cycle. Your child don't trust you, you don't trust your child, and you are not in a wicked, you are not in a good term with your child, and that makes
not communicating
parenting very
properly.
difficult.
And it's sort of like a trust barrier. If they don't trust you, they're going to be looking for ways around it, as you said before, looking at friends' phones and that whenever they can. But if they trust you and feel like they can talk to you, then they're more likely to communicate with you and accept something you say to them, like if you say you need a bit less time on the screen.
Yes, yes. So in the first beginning, usually what we do is really to help them to reconnect with the child and also to control their responses, like how, like instead of reacting, they should respond and guide them to come back and not just punishing them, shaming them, or, to correct the behavior. So we always tell them that how you can reconnect with your child, because without connections, right, it's going to be hard and influence your child, because you are always on a very you are always on the battle, because your child have other influences and they also have friends who have access to the social media. It's cool, and you, the parents, don't have the screen time, then they will consider you like you are the outdated mom, outdated dad.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with 14 years of cybersecurity, I understand there's a lot that we can do to prevent it, like having these conversations with our children, using the parental control apps in the phone. But do you ever sort of see it on the other side where sort of someone has been scammed, or maybe a predator has had inappropriate contact with a minor? Are you ever involved in catching that person?
No, I didn't have experience on that, but I'm aware that there are a lot of stories, like, there's a lot of online predators. So some of the videos actually come through me, and because of my experience in cybersecurity, actually, I was trying to delay technology use in my children until the COVID came. Then it's the point that I know that I cannot delay anymore.
Right. And what was it about cybersecurity that made you realize that's something you needed to focus your energy on?
Because of my background, I was always involved in, like, preventing hackers to go into compromise the organization's network, right? What I realized is no matter how good the systems we are, and when we actually talk about that, we are not talking about 1 layer, 2 layers, and in order to go through and penetrate that particular systems that they want, you may need to go through at least 5 or even 10 layers.
Right.
And still people able to compromise that. And it means that to me that the one that behind the scene, like in the dark world, is actually even brilliant than me, and that's got me very worried.
Yeah,
but
right.
Safe online is not hard. It's just like staying safe physically in your world, and it's something that we can actually teach our children.
And you hear stories about, of course, with cybersecurity, that hackers and stuff like that could potentially hack into my mobile phone that's sitting next to me, activate the microphone, and listen to me, even if my phone is just sort of sitting on set. Is that actually true? Can people do that if they wish to?
It depends. Usually they use some tactics, like they will actually ask you to download something. So do not download any unknown apps, because once you download the apps, right, they can just compromise your phone.
Right.
So a lot of
times, don't
that,
open any dodgy emails.
Yeah, don't open any dodgy emails. Don't download any apps they ask you to install, and don't click on some links, like. But of course, I think that for me, who is trained, then we can easily know that, okay, this URL is something wrong. But a lot of people, they have no idea, is it right, is it not right? So a lot of people telling me that actually I have no idea whether this is legit or not.
So if you don't open that door for them, so to speak, if you don't click on that link or download the app, then theoretically there's no way for them to just have access to your devices.
Yes, and also the public Wi-Fi, because when you're connected to public Wi-Fi, you are connected to the network, and there's another way they can actually sniff your network and see what you're actually doing. And there's a lot of, they can use like some tools like Sniffer. Sniffer is a tool that we use to capture the packets that you transfer, because you're still using that. So if you want to connect like your public Wi-Fi, maybe in an airport, so I suggest you to use VPN, so that you have a tunneling of the network, so people cannot sniff your data, and it's safer for you to be on that public Wi-Fi.
Wow. And I've heard that Apple Macs are a bit more robust when it comes to viruses and stuff like that and hacking compared to other softwares and Androids. Is that true?
Yes, yes. Actually, Apple is more secure.
Right. So is that just because more viruses are made for other operating software that's more widely used and that it's not necessarily made specifically for Apple, or does Apple
No,
really have a
actually,
better
if you
operating
see,
system?
yes, because if you see, Apple is like a closed systems. But
Right.
Android is actually an open system. So anyone who can read coding, they can just go and see how the coding looks like. And I think that, like because of that is an open systems, many people can actually develop a lot of tools on that. And sometimes I felt that the tools, they are not like, yes, we have Google Store, which they can read through, but there's a lot of slimy app. Like, there's one app you can actually search called Calculator, which is only available on Google Store. It's not a calculator app. Of course, you click on it, it's like a calculator app, but it's actually an app which your children can actually use to store and hide things from you.
Hide files from you. Yeah,
Right.
right. I've heard about them as sort of like safe vault apps or stuff like that. Yeah, right. That's interesting.
Has there ever been well, obviously there would have been situations where people have been scammed and their phones have been compromised or their computers. Uh, how easy is it to reclaim that? Do you have to completely reboot the entire phone or computer and reinstall the software from scratch, or can you actually save some of what might be compromised?
No, actually, if let's say back I'm working in cybersecurity, any system is compromised, we view it as like, is that consider is like the RIP lah, you just uninstall everything,
Yeah,
decommission.
right.
You want to install, you reformat the whole thing, you install. And usually, in organizations, they have backup.
Yeah.
So they will actually see when was the last backup and how many files or how many data they need to recover. So it's actually a painful process, if let's say you will compromise, because it's not like, okay, we compromise, so we see, like it's not like that, because a lot of people do not know that. But actually what we're going to do is like we will assess and we will also see what are the so-called suspicious network or potential system that has compromised, that I also identified this is going to be dead, and then we are going to restore the whole thing again. So it's going to be very painful process. It's not like a simple, straightforward. So for some of my friends who have been like hacked and compromised on their mobile phones, they asked me, I said, you just rewipe and hopefully you have some backup. And
so does that mean with sort of the ransomware and stuff like that, how you hear about sort of these malicious software packages where they can take your device and basically hold it to ransom and get you to pay to release it? Are you basically saying don't bother negotiating with these people and that you're going to have to wipe your device anyway? Or have you ever had someone in that situation?
How many data you have actually? Of course, the easiest is, cut the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a simple and straightforward. If let's say your data, which is you have, I don't know, maybe you have some financial data or you have some data related to money is there, then you may need to pay.
Right.
But how many times you can pay? Like it won't be guaranteed they will not ransom you for the second time, third time, right?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. And being so sort of cyber orientated and dealing with kids that have digital addiction, do you encourage just switching devices off every now and then and sort of getting out of the house and spending time without technology?
I think it's really about empowering them how to use technologies, because actually the technology is just the tool.
Right. Yeah, of course. Like the paintbrush to the painter. It's up to the painter to decide what they want to do with it.
Yes. So it's actually about like, cultivating conscious use of the screens, and, like, and even like having the responsibility to use it in the right way.
And how about the sort of AI that is developing really quickly at the moment? Of course, with ChatGPT, and I believe there's a couple of other people developing general AI at the moment. Do you believe this poses a major risk to cybersecurity?
Yes, because they can even use your voice, and they can just change your and just use your voice and ask the AI to use your voice and call your family members and say, hello,
Yeah, right, of
Jessie
course.
has been kidnapped, so you need to pay me this. So Jessie, say a word, help me. And then,
Wow, yeah, I never even really thought of that. Fake ransom messages from loved ones. That's wild.
yes, it could be quite alarming as well, because now in the past, you can't contact the person, but right now, when you hear your loved one voice over the phone, it will just
Yeah.
freak you out.
Oh,
You will just
straight
think
away.
that this is the truth.
And is there sort of software being developed to combat that? Software that will recognize AI, sort of impersonating voices and stuff like that?
I'm not too sure on that, actually, but I think that like you just have to use some of the common sense, like how the scammer works. You need to understand how scammer works. What are things that you need to watch for?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
always found sort of double checking. I've had a few phone calls from scammers and stuff like that, and if they're asking me something that seems a little bit odd, I'll always quickly grab another device and search the phone number in Google and see what comes up. And yeah, it's happened a couple of times where it's come up as a scammer number, because they get posted up there pretty quickly. So, and is there a sort of big community of people that are becoming more aware of cybersecurity for their children and engaging in sort of getting coaching to protect themselves digitally?
I think for most of the parents right now, I think that they are not concerned about the online safety, although that I think that you think that the online safety will be one of the things, but most of the parents who came to me, they actually are more concerned about the addictions, the time spent on the mobile devices.
Right. So you find yourself sort of coaching parents more around how to limit their children's time on devices instead of keeping them safe.
Yes. But of course, one of the things that we also teach them is about like stay safe online. But
Of course,
like
safety as
first
well,
thing that
yes.
we, like I said, we need to rebuild the connections, because like I said, you can teach them all the safe online, but if they think that you are the outdated mom, they're not going to, nothing will land into their years.
Yeah, of course. And you've got to be able to sort of have that open communication with your kids where they're happy to come to you if there's anything happening online that they're not completely confident with. So
Yes,
I think
and
that's
also empowering them.
yeah, of course. And where is the best place for people to sort of engage with your coaching? And if they are interested in finding out about cybersecurity and if their children are spending too many hours on the screen each day, where can they get in contact with you?
Yes, they can actually connect with me on my social media. I have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can just search for Jessie Liu SP, Singapore, Poland. So that's the JESSIELIEW SP. So that's the surname that I have. And usually when you search, you should actually able to find me. And I have 20 painful mistakes that parents regret making on their children's screen time and how to avoid them webinar. It's a recorded one. They can also
20 painful mistakes. Nice.
Yes, 20 painful mistakes that parents regret making on their child's screen time. It's actually, the URL is actually at bit.ly/screen time mistakes.
Yeah, right. Beautiful. I might actually have to check that out myself because I'm actually in that realm at the moment where I've got 3 kids at home between 7 and 14. So I think they all spend too much time on their screens. But I mean, it's easy to tell them what not to do. I think sometimes it's harder to tell them what to do. It's easy to tell somebody to stop doing something, but they're not just going to sit around doing nothing. They're going to want something to do. So you've got to give them some direction, I think. But so that'd definitely be interesting to check out. But yeah, thanks for being with us tonight, Jessie. It's been interesting talking to you, and I'll definitely be checking out some of that 20 mistakes that parents make with their children myself. So.
Bet you've made all 20 of them.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if I've made all 20 of them. But yeah, thanks again, Jessie. It's been great talking with you, and we'll wrap this up now. But yeah, if anybody's listening in and wants to check it out, follow Jessie on the social medias, and you'll be able to check it out for yourselves. Thanks, Jessie. Take it easy. Bye for now.
Bye.